Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead Dead City video here. So I want to talk about episode 4 because we actually have some teaser images here that I do want to get into, and a lot of stuff in here actually does show a lot of what's happening in this episode here, and a lot of it is actually not in the trailer at all. So yeah, I'm really excited about this one here. So make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my Walking Dead content like this, but let's actually talk about episode 4 here. Actually, before we get into that, I do want to talk about one thing here really quick, and that is, a lot of the criticisms that I've seen about The Walking Dead Dead City Season 2 so far, and that is that the season has been boring so far. So I will just say when it comes to a lot of that, I mean, like, that happens, if you're like 3 episodes into a season of a show. Like, this happened a lot with The Walking Dead, right? Like, if you had a 16 episode season and you watched 3 episodes of the season, there were a lot of complaints about like if you watch 3 episodes of a 16 episode season, right? Like, you would see a lot of those complaints of like, well, nothing's happening so far. Like, it's been boring so far, right? It's more of like, you have to watch 8 episodes of the season or like 16 episodes, right? To see like an arc sort of play out, right? Like either a mid-season arc or like a full season arc. And yeah, you would see a lot of criticism obviously for the show and whatnot, but I think that that's just sort of like, again, I think for me, when I'm watching a season of like any Walking Dead show, I'm really going based off of like, how the show is gonna play out, I guess, by the time we get to like the ending of the season. And like, if there's a couple of episodes left, I will bring up concerns I do have about like, well, it seems like this is not going anywhere, this and that. But again, we're 3 episodes in and we're not even at the halfway point of the season yet. And episode 4 looks really exciting. So, I think that we just kind of have to wait and see where the story is going, because right now I think they've just done a lot of character build up, right? For Maggie and Hershel and a lot of what they're going through. And then for Negan, I think his story is about to begin here once Maggie actually gets there, right? So I think that that's sort of what we've been waiting for overall. And again, the early reviews were only on the first 6 episodes, so I'm curious on those last 2 episodes and just what happens there. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see where all of that goes. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that because I see people talking about that quite a bit, but honestly, for me personally anyways, I don't really understand it too much, because this has always been what The Walking Dead has been like, right? It's just always kind of been like that overall. But I will say, with like the overall Walking Dead universe and making things a bit more exciting, like, yeah, you do need more crossovers and connections. You have to have like Dwight on this show, or bring back a character from The Walking Dead. Like, you have to have other characters, I feel like, on the show here, because that's what people want. People want to see these characters on The Walking Dead. People, want to see more connections and have everyone together, right? I think that that's the one thing, with The Walking Dead ending with season 11, that like going into, the spin-offs and whatnot, I think we all wanted the stories to sort of like build back up to like maybe not even like a season 12 of The Walking Dead, but basically a reunion story, right? Like, I know that the stories are going to be separate for a while, but like, you can still have characters show up in like, season 2 at some point, or I don't know, connect to other things, right? But anyways, this first shot that we see here is of Hershel, and it looks like this is when he's actually at Bruegel's base here. I'm not sure what this place is going to be called, but it looks like Maggie and Hershel, and I believe Pearlie are actually here right now. So Hershel at this point is on his own, but I imagine that Maggie is probably somewhere close by. I feel like he's literally either reacting to, I mean, maybe there's a few people there from Bruegel's group, or maybe it's walkers or something like that, but I know there's a shot of Hershel running away at some point, so I feel like he's reacting to something here. He's going to be running away in the hallway behind him, and then I think Maggie shows up at some point as well, and they're all running away. So maybe, I mean, this could be literally where the bear scene takes place. We'll have to wait and see, but this shot here I thought was really cool, and that's what's kind of exciting about, I would say, this episode here, is that it really does look like it's going to be a really big Bruegel episode, and we're going to learn a lot about the character. I think that, like, honestly, to me, Dama is a really incredible villain, and I'm really excited about her story here, but I feel like Bruegel, going into the season, I was really excited for him to be the villain. And I mean, I think a lot of characters are going to be, villains. I think that, I mean, if you look at New Babylon, right, like, they're villains, I would say, as well. I would say they're probably like the biggest villains of the season so far, even though they are kind of like, I guess you could say, heroes in some way. I don't really view them like that just because of what they've done this season, right? And also in season 1 as well. So it'll be interesting to see where Maggie and Negan both, I guess, end up this season, because I don't know if they're going to be really on either side, or like, are things going to change with all the groups here by the time we get to the end of season 2? That's what I'm really curious about. But yeah, Bruegel and this scene here looks really incredible, like just with the artwork and everything like that. I feel like the character, honestly, is going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, going into this shot right here, we do see Negan with Lucille, and yeah, it's a really cool shot here. It's really I would say just a really cool classic shot of him, right? I feel like there's always like a couple of shots of Negan per season where maybe he has Lucille, or I guess maybe not all the time Lucille, because obviously this is the first time he's had Lucille in a while. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a really cool shot. But yeah, then we get the next one here of Dama, and obviously this is when she is talking with Bruegel. Another one here of Negan, and I think this is actually when he first sees Maggie. So, I mean, maybe when he first sees her, he makes a joke and he kind of smiles because he's happy to see her. I feel like when they first see each other, he's kind of shocked. He's just like, wow, like you came back here, right? Because we've heard lines like that from the trailer. Again, trailers can be edited differently, so it will feel off overall, but I feel like that's sort of what happens is he's more shocked to actually see her there. And then I think he'll make a joke or something like that, and that's why he's smiling. So I think this is going to be like later on during that scene. We do see that the group actually from last week's episode is actually going to be playing a role in this week's episode as well. I was curious about that because the group was there technically at the end of episode 3, like Maggie never left. So I was curious if we were going to see the group a little bit early on in this episode. And I do think so. I think that the group will be here. Maggie will say, goodbye and whatnot, and they're all going to be on their way, going to, I guess, Manhattan, and they will actually get there to Bruegel's base in this episode. So that's really exciting. And I just wonder, if there's a goodbye to this group and like that's it, or if the group is going to play a role later on this season. I feel like they probably will, just because, I mean, it makes no sense to introduce them otherwise, right? Like they really remind me of like the Scavengers almost, right? From like the season 7 and season 8, where it was like they were there, but they never really played a role until like later on. So it's a group that, as of right now, we'll have to wait and see where this goes, but I think they will play a role in the story, but like maybe not this season, maybe it's season 3 or something. We'll have to wait and see. Another really cool shot here of, everyone's having dinner here, and it looks like to me like Bruegel is sort of maybe making fun of the Croat here in this scene, just because it looks like the Croat is almost like a little defensive here, right? And Negan is smiling because I think he's kind of, he finds it hilarious. So I'm curious what's actually happening here, and I wonder if Bruegel and the power he has is going to be something that we see here in this scene, because it looks like the Croat can't really do anything here, right? And Negan might actually find it kind of funny, so we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, another really cool shot here of Negan with Lucille and whatnot. This is obviously when they're going to Bruegel's base. This shot right here makes me really excited for this character. I do think that Bruegel, like the way that I sort of understood the character being described, at least before the season started, was that, if Negan was, I guess, Venom, then Bruegel would be Carnage. And that's really interesting if that does actually, happen here this season. I'd be really excited about that, because I do think that Bruegel, I think when you watch the very first episode, he's seeing something in Negan where he's like, I get who he is. I understand who he is. And also, he just seemed to really like his persona overall, right? So it's going to be cool to see how the two characters, I think, interact here this season and how things play out. Also, just because obviously Kim Coates is a really incredible actor, and you have Jeffrey Dean Morgan there as well. Like, both of them have really awesome chemistry, and I just feel like for these scenes here, it's going to be done really well, and a shot like this just kind of tells me that. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see, obviously, but I do wonder why he's laughing here. Like, he's laughing at Dama here, so obviously he's not taking seriously something that she said. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, then we get this other shot here of Bruegel, and I think this is early on when they first obviously talk to him. Another shot here of Negan with Dama in the background. You see a lot of, I guess, other people back there, but yeah, this is a really cool shot here. Then we go to the next one, and then we have this shot here that looks really cool, and obviously Bruegel is right in the center. So that's kind of what I mean by like a lot of the complaints about the season being boring. I feel like we're not even there yet with the story. Like, I think they've been building up a lot of stuff here, because season 2 looks like it's going to get so much crazier here in the next couple of episodes. And like Bruegel seems to be like the main villain here this season. So I'm excited to see the character. I really can't wait. Like, I've been talking about this character for a long time now. And finally, with episode 4, we're going to see what he's going to bring to the show here. But another shot here of Bruegel and Negan, and yeah, they're shaking hands here. This looks to be right before the Walker battles and stuff begin. So, I mean, we'll see what happens here. Like, the one thing I'm really interested in terms of how this is going to play a role is, I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens here, but I do feel like for Negan, I'm curious if, who he is starts to be, called out a little bit by Bruegel. Like, I think Bruegel's going to be able to see right through it, right? Like, obviously Negan back in the day was like that, but he's trying so hard now to be his old self, and sometimes it's there, but a lot of the times it's not. And I think for Bruegel, he might be able to see a lot of that here. So maybe Bruegel in this scene here is making him do something that he doesn't really want to do. It might have to do with some of the walkers and whatnot here, but I do feel like if you look at Negan, like his face anyways, he looks like he's, you know, kind of, I guess, scared or a little like concerned about something that he has to do here or whatever. So that's kind of the way I'm reading this. And then we see Maggie here, and I think that, yeah, she's looking up at all of this from above. So when a lot of these scenes are happening with the dinner and everything, I do think that Maggie's like right there. She's watching everything happen. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Like, we seem to know how this episode's going to play out, but not obviously the ending. I think we know the beginning part and somewhat of, you know, I guess the middle of the episode. We're going to see Negan, Dama, and everyone arrive to Bruegel's base and then I guess walk up there, talk to him and whatnot. Then eventually there's this dinner. For Maggie's story, it's going to be, you know, they're at that other group's place for now. They're going to say goodbye and whatnot, leave. And then eventually Maggie ends up here where they're having that dinner and whatnot. And again, we'll see where this goes. I think that there's going to be a lot of stuff that actually happens here because there is that painting that's on fire. So, yeah, I'm curious as to why that's happening. Like, why is that on fire? Is it because of Bruegel or is it because of something that Maggie did and there's an actual battle here happening in this episode? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, then we get this one shot here of Maggie, and I believe at this point here, she's actually talking to Negan. And so, yeah, really interesting reunion that I'm really excited for. I don't really know where it's going to go. I feel like a lot of what we saw in the trailer for season 2 is really like the first like 4 episodes of the season. And I think a lot of the really exciting stuff that, you know, obviously where the season gets like really crazy is like the last 4 episodes here, because we've seen a lot of stuff now from the trailer. And I think a lot of the trailer for the most part has been shown, but there are still some of the scenes like the bear scene and whatnot that I think, you know, could play out here in episode 4. I could totally see like that story happening here because Maggie is going to be in this building here. And I imagine a bunch of stuff's going to happen and she's going to try and escape, right? And so I think when she's trying to get away, that's where the bear scene takes place. So we'll have to wait and see, but that's sort of how I see this playing out. And then we get to this last shot here of Maggie and Hershel. And yeah, it looks like, you know, things are overall, I mean, I guess they're probably going to be leaving here at this point, right? So we'll see where Hershel's story goes. I think for episode 3, honestly, they did a really good job of like setting up the character's, I guess, story and like what happened to him in season 1. And they don't have to get into it all the time. Like for episode 3, they really, you know, got into that story quite a bit. And honestly, the reviews about Hershel's story have been really good. Like that's the one thing that I've seen out there is that everyone loves Hershel and that the actor is absolutely incredible. So that's really good because if you want Hershel to be a bigger part of The Walking Dead overall going forward and like into the future and whatnot, you want to get the casting right. And I think they honestly have done such a great job with the character. And I'm excited for episode 4. I think that episode 4 is going to be the turning point here this season where things do start to get a little bit crazier. The character stories are there now in Manhattan, and I'm interested in seeing how all the characters are going to react to everything now, because a lot of it has been build up. Like the first 3 episodes have been a lot of like, we're building from Maggie being at the bricks and then eventually, you know, deciding to go to New York and like everything that happened there, right? And now she's actually going to be there with the main story of the season. And for Negan, it's sort of been the same thing. Like he has to get everyone on his side, right? Like the Dama wants all the other groups to join hers. And I think that that's sort of where everything is building to right now, is that we're going to see all of that play out here in this episode. So we're finally going to be at a really awesome point here this season, and I'm excited for this episode. I do think that this one's probably going to be the best one of the season because you're going to have everyone together, and it looks like a lot of stuff is going to be happening. And yeah, I think if the episode ends with the bear scene, that's going to be like one of the best scenes, I feel like, of the series so far, like even including season 1, because that's something I've been looking forward to for a while. But anyways, I'm going to leave it here. Definitely post all your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.